All right, so a good evening, everyone. Can we hear me clearly? Can we hear me clearly? Hello, Ubon, can you hear me clearly?
Yeah, great. I can hear you.
Okay, so just give me a moment. Let me pull up my slide. All right. Let's see. Spotlight. All right, so a good evening, a good afternoon, a good morning, that's depending on your time zone. Welcome to today's masterclass session. Okay, so there's this board about, oh, what is business analysis? Where do I need this? Oh, what's the practical application of business analysis? How do I know what to do when I get to an organization and then I'm given a task as a business analyst? Okay, so there's been a buzz around it. That is what we'll be doing in today's session. So we still have a lot of persons that will be joining us on the call, right? Before we proceed, I just want us to do a little exercise. I want to know, where are you joining us from? Are you in Nigeria? Are you in the UK? Are you in Canada? Are you in Kenya? Are you in Ghana? So I really want to know, where are you joining us from? I need a response in the chat. And yes, so long you stay to the end of the session, you get access to the slides and all the materials used in today's session. Okay, so I can see in the chat, Calgary, Canada, that's 9. I can see United Kingdom. Let's keep it coming. So iPhone is joining from Nigeria. I can see Madagascar. Are you serious? All the way from Madagascar. I can see Lagos, Nigeria. I can see Canada, Hamilton. Then I can see Nigeria. So welcome. I need more responses. Why? Because that's the amazing thing of you being in an online session. You get to interact with persons, you get to talk with persons from different locations. Okay, so there's diversity in learning. All right, so I need more responses. I can see Toronto, Canada. I can see Nigeria, Edo State. That's 9. I need a responses. I need a responses. Let's keep it coming. All right. Then I think the second task we'll be doing is, if you have never attended a 10 Analytics Masterclass, this is your first Masterclass session, I need a 1 in the chat. I need a 1 in the chat. You've not heard of 10 Analytics before. This is your first Masterclass session. I need a 1. I need us to respond. We are roughly over 30 on this call. That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. So welcome everyone to today's session. And I want you to sit back because you'll be learning from a seasoned professional. You know, I mentioned that a lot of persons have been hearing the term business analysis, but they don't know what it was about. They don't know the difference between a business analyst and then a data analyst. They don't know the practical application or what tools do you use as a business analyst. That is what you will be learning hands-on in today's session. And we have a seasoned professional that's coming to take you, right, for this session. Now, moving forward, you know, I saw a lot of responses in the chat as regards, oh, this is the first time we are attending a 10 Analytics Masterclass. So first of all, who are we at 10 Analytics? What do we do? Why do we have the right to come tell you that, oh, this is what business analysis means? Okay, so we noticed that there's a gap between Africans, between the Black community and then the tech society. All right, so our goal at 10 Analytics is to ensure that, oh, we get a lot of persons, we get a lot of Black persons in tech, right? So it's not just for you to, let's say, travel out and then you start doing care jobs or any kind of menial jobs. No, you're smart. We are naturally smart as Black people, right? So it is high time you utilize those skills to ensure that, oh, you're channeling it in the right direction and then you're in tech, right? So our goal here is to ensure that you, as a Black person, you from Africa, from Nigeria, so far you are recognized as Black, right? Our goal is to ensure that you acquire these skills, these data-driven skills, to ensure that you trend in our current technological age. So now we offer a lot of programs across data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, and then the Power Platform program. And we have seasoned professionals. Note, we'll be having one join us in today's session. And I mentioned before, I want you to sit back and learn. So if you have a distraction beside you, tell that distraction to wait. All right, you want to know what business analysis entails. Okay, so moving forward to our achievements in 2022, right, we've helped a lot of persons transition from having no prior knowledge in tech into the tech industry. Because, you know, when you are starting out in tech, you might feel, oh, do I need to spend a lot of years trying to learn this skills? Do I need to spend a lot of years trying to master these tools? But no, you don't need to do that, right? We are here to tell you that, yes, with the right guidance, we will help you transition from having no prior knowledge. So even if you've worked as an economist, as a teacher, as a pharmacist, as a doctor, right, you can effectively transition into tech. Okay, and we have like our participants have worked across this organization. So trust me, we are tested and then we are also trusted. Okay, so moving forward, you have access to these slides. You can go over these articles of the impacts that we've been creating. Remember, our goal is to ensure that the Black community are effectively represented in the tech ecosystem. Okay, so moving forward, these are our impact also as scholarship for women, ensuring that, okay, women that really do not have access, you know, there's this thing that, oh, the male, right, they're always given priority. All right, so we had a scholarship celebrating women and they had access to our training programs. Okay, so moving forward, you know, I mentioned that you get access to these slides, right? So you can now go over the resources that we have here. And finally, have you met, if you've not attended any of our masterclass sessions, that means you've not met these amazing individuals. That's Adeza Sulema and Efemina Igbo. These are the founders of Tenalytics, right? They sat down and they saw that, oh, we need to fill up this gap. And they're experienced individuals with close to a decade experience in their field. So you should know that, oh, you're not dealing with beginners, all right? You're dealing with persons that have gone through this process, have learned, and are now get towards ensuring that you are able to effectively transition. Okay, so this is myself. I'm Esther Gena Brima. I'm a senior data associate here at Tenalytics, and I have about 5 years experience in the data science industry. All right, so, and yes, I have an undergraduate degree in structural engineering. Okay, you know, there's always this deal with, oh, I didn't study computer science, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. How am I sure that I am going to thrive in the tech industry? I read structural engineering. So tell me, how is structural engineering related to data science? Okay, so I use myself as an example a lot. So you too, you can successfully transition into the tech industry. Okay, so moving forward, what we are going to be doing today. Now, we are going to be having a practical application of business analysis. You know, I mentioned that, oh, okay, you've heard about the term, but you don't actually know what they do. That is what we are going to be doing today. And we have a seasoned professional coming to take you in today's session. Then moving forward, how do you become a business analyst? What process, what procedures do you take? Okay, what do you need to do to ensure that, oh, you can acquire this skill as a business analyst? Then our upcoming business analysis cohort on the 4th of November. And then finally, right, we have a special discount for you, and you see success stories from our students that have or are currently undergoing this process. Okay, so at this junction, we'll be welcoming the professional that we have to take today's session. So hi Seun, how are you doing? How are you doing today?
Hi, Brahma. I'm very well, thanks.
Right.
So trust you're doing well as well.
Okay. So I'm handing over to you.
Right, thank you very much. I'm just gonna share my screen. Please let me know if you're able to see or when you're able to see my screen.
Okay, yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone, depending on where you're joining from. Yeah, welcome to the masterclass, the business analysis masterclass. So I'd just like us to do, I know we've done a bit of introduction, you know, telling where we are joining from, but you know, I just want to understand or know the diverse, you know, backgrounds of people that are here, right? Because I mean, for some of us, this is the first time we're hearing about business analysis. For some others, you've heard about it, but you want to get into it, and that's why you're on this call, right? And for a lot of us, we have come from different backgrounds, and that's the interesting thing, right? You want to transition into tech, and that's why you're on this call, right? So I just want to get a feel of what your background is, you know, at the moment. Are you currently a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer? Because we've had lawyers, you know, transition into business analysis. Are you currently a student? You know, that's fantastic. You just graduated, from school and you want to, are you a botanist? Are you in the health sector? Because all of these people have come to Tenalytics and have successfully transitioned into tech. So we just want to get a feel of, your background. Um, okay, I can see Edward is an agronomist. Oh, that's nice. Who else? Who else? Strategic communications, fantastic. Currently doing my master's in public health, good. Political science, agribusiness woman, cybersecurity, FMCG, lawyer. Oh, we've got a couple of agronomists on the call. That's nice. Just graduated. Good, good MSc student, business analytics, petroleum engineering, product manager, animal science. Yeah, that's really good, right? Because I mean, like we said, you can transition, right, from any background. And that's one of the most interesting things about business analysis, right? I believe it's one of the easiest ways for you to transition into tech, right? Because when a lot of us hear about, tech, what comes to mind is, it feels like this very vague, this very huge, space, when you start to hear things like artificial intelligence, you start to hear things like cloud computing, data science, like Brahma is, you feel like, can I really do this? Can I code? All of those things, right? Okay, we have a business analyst at the call as well. That's good. So, so I believe, I mean, business analysis is one of the easiest way for you to transition into tech, right? So that's good. Thanks for that. So I'll just give a brief introduction about myself. So my name is Oluwaseun Fagbule. Um, I'm a business or systems analyst with approximately 6 years experience, cutting across the telecoms industry, manufacturing, and payment industries. My previous
Come on.
experiences was at can we mute, please? All right, thank you. My previous experiences was at MTN Nigeria, so my previous experiences was at MTN Nigeria, where I was for about 4 years. I also did a bit of consultancy for a company in the UK called Slinko UK. I worked there as a process analyst. I'm currently working as a systems analyst slash product reliability engineer with Visa Europe. That's the payment company. So if you know MasterCard Europe, MasterCard, Visa. Um, so yeah. So I'll be taking the master class, right? So before we, go, deep dive into, because we'll be doing some hands-on, practical today, right? But before we go into that, I just want to, ask us what do you currently understand as business analysis, right? I know I mean, some of us, we've heard about this. You must have researched, you must have done something. Maybe you have a friend as a business analyst, or, you've done something similar, or you've just read about it, or you've heard about it somewhere, right? It doesn't have to be right. We're not here we're here to learn, right? So you shouldn't be shy to think you're going to say the wrong answer, right? So does anyone want to share with us? Just come to the mic, and tell us, what do you understand by business analysis today? What's your current understanding of business analysis? What is business analysis to you? What do you think it is? Anyone? Who wants to try? All right, James, do you have your hand raised? Do you want to go? James? James Utiaruk?
Yes, so my name is James. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Hello, everyone. So, business analyst for me, it's more like a business or process improvement whereby you use data to analyze and improve the existing processes in a business, and whereby you want to optimize performance, ensuring that you improve on the system quality and standards.
Okay, fantastic. So improving on business processes, quality standards. Yeah, that's really good. Thanks for that, James. I think we add someone else, Oluwashemilore. Can't see on him. Anybody else wants to try? What do you understand by business analysis? So Edward is saying in the chat, someone who makes a research to fine-tune business performance. Yeah, that's part of it. That's good. Who else? One more person. Just okay, two hands raised. I'm not seeing all the hands for some reason. I'm not sure, but okay, Ramon, do you want to go? And then we'll take Priscilla afterwards.
All right. My name is Raman Odebumi.
All right, hi, Ramon.
So business analysis is the process of gathering data in order to derive insights to enhance data-based decision making.
All right, thanks for that. You're correct in some sense, but you're tilting more into data analysis, right? Although in business analysis, there's a bit of use of data, but it's not as prominent as you would in data analysis, right? But which your definition kind of made. But yeah, it's also using some insights from the business data, to improve business processes and performances. Thanks for that. Visla, do you want to go?
Okay, hello everyone.
Hi.
My understanding of business analysis or business analysis is a business analyst is someone who bridges the gap between a company's current situation to the company's desired situation. So basically what they do is gather requirements and then translate those requirements into functional specifications to help to improve the business processes and also give the clients basically give them satisfaction, a better customer experience, improve processes, basically.
Yeah, fantastic. Thanks so much for that, Priscilla. I feel like you've done some courses in business analysis before. You've had an experience in the past because that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was good. So it's a bridge between companies' desired state and where they are currently. We talk about that, the assist process and the to be, right? The assist state of the company and then the to be state, right? We'll explain that in a bit. Thanks for that. So on the chat, Amira is saying it's identifying business needs and providing solutions to achieve organizational goal. Fantastic. Elvis is saying someone who conducts SWOT analysis to maintain market dominance. That's part of the techniques that you would use as a business analyst. There are several techniques that you would use as a business analyst. Today, we'll be looking at one of the practical techniques, right, that you'll be using as a business analyst. But yes, SWOT is one of them. Daniel is saying a business analyst is the bridge between stakeholders and the tech team, providing solutions to problems. Fantastic. Yeah. You're absolutely correct, right? So whilst we've defined all of this, it's also important for us to be able to define, business analysis according to the standard, to the industry standard, right? And we have the International Institute of Business Analysis, that's the IIBA, right? And they define business analysis as the practice of enabling change in an organization, right? So I want us to focus on, the points that are, that are bolded, that are highlighted in the definition. So business analysis is the practice of enabling change, right? So change, there's a saying that, change is the most constant thing, right? We are always going through changes. Companies are going through changes. When COVID happened, a lot of companies had to change, their operating procedures. Some companies started to work from home remotely, hybrid. They needed to put in some new solutions. They needed to find new ways, to meet their customers' needs, right? To attend to their customers. That's a change. As individuals, we go through changes too, right? For some of us, for you to come on this call to want to transition into tech, it's a change, right? For some of us, you want to relocate to another country, it's a change. For some of us, you're taking new courses, perhaps you're getting married, perhaps you're, going to school. We are all going through changes, right? So business analysis is the practice of enabling change, right? So companies are always going through changes, right? They're always, whether to, improve customer experience, make profits, improve performance in one way or the other, they're always going through changes, right? So business analysis is that practice of enabling that change, right? In an organization. Right. So I just thought it's important for us to define this before we go into the hands-on practical, right? So just to give a background, right, and an introduction, because I know for a couple of us, this is like the first time you're hearing about business analysis, right? So you're enabling that change in an organization, right? So typically, I mean, in the context of business analysis, that change you're going to enable is going to be in an organization. So you're going to be working in a company, right? Maybe a tech company or a gaming company or in the health sector. I mean, there's no limit to the sector you can work in as a business analyst, right? You could be in, in the health sector. We've had, a lot of our students, get jobs in the NHS as business analysts or technical business analysts or, different roles, right? So you're enabling that change in an organization by defining needs, right? So companies are they've always got needs. As individuals too, we've got needs, right? So companies will always have needs, right? And as Priscilla said, that's the state that they're in at the moment, right? So there's what we call the assist states, right? The current state of that particular business. Can we mute, please? Kaka Damilola, if you can mute. Thank you. There's the current state that the business is at the moment, right? So maybe, for example, the company you're trying to build, I'll give an example. You're working with Mercedes, for example, right? I mean, that's a car manufacturing company, and Mercedes is saying that they want to be able to build a car that can fly, or they want to be able to build an electric car, right? Like the Teslas that we have today, right? But currently today, Mercedes only builds, petrol-powered cars, right? That's, the Mercedes C-Class and all of that. Those are the kind of vehicles they build. That is their as-is state. That is the current state that they are currently today. But the future state, the desired state that Mercedes as a company wants to get to is they want to be able to build electric vehicles, right? Without petrol, that won't be needing petrol, right? That you need to plug in and charge, the EV charging and all of that. So the as-is state is that today, Mercedes currently produces petrol-powered vehicles, right? The to-be state, right? And that is the business analysis term or business analysis term. So I want us to start, getting and grasping some of these terms one after the other. So the as-is state, for Mercedes is that they're currently producing petrol-powered cars, but the to-be state, right, which is the future state, the desired state where they want to be, is to start building electric vehicles, right, which is where most car manufacturing companies are going to anyway, because of climate change and trying to net zero carbon emissions and all of that. So that's the as-is and the to-be. Right. So it's the practice of enabling change in an organization by defining needs, for the assist, and then recommending solutions, right? Recommending solutions for the to-be, for the desired state. To say, okay, for us to get to the desired state where we need to, start to build electric vehicles. Of course, we need to start considering things like, the ability to charge the vehicle. There has to be a GPS, system for navigation. If it's going to be a driverless vehicle, you start to recommend solutions to them, right? So as a business analyst or business analysis, again, is the practice of enabling change in an organization by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value. So whatever recommendation that you're giving, to that organization or to that company has to deliver value. You can't just, give a recommendation that has no value, right? The reason why you are there in the first place is to deliver value, right? So that recommendation, that solution must deliver value. And who is this value being delivered to? To stakeholders, and you would have, either internal stakeholders or external stakeholders. Internal stakeholders, you'd have, people like, the directors of the company, the board, the investors, the CEO, the CFO, and then of course, external customers, you'd have, external stakeholders, you have your customers, right? Which are the users of the products that you're going to be building, right? So you're going to be delivering that value to stakeholders. So the value, sometimes it doesn't have to be in cash or in money or in revenue. Sometimes it could be customer experience, customer improvement, customer satisfaction. That solution just has to be able to deliver value in one way or the other, right? Then using a set of tasks and techniques, right? Business analysis is the practice of enabling change in an organization by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders using a set of tasks and techniques, right? And those tasks, one of those tasks and techniques is what we're going to be learning today, right? Which is process mapping, right? We've done, there are several tasks and techniques in business analysis. There's, requirement elicitation, there's SWOT analysis, there's PES2, there's OSCAR, there's RACI. There are several of them. There's the SDLC, but we'll be taking one of them, and all of these techniques are things that you would learn, if you join the course full time. But we'll be looking at one of those techniques today in this masterclass, and it's going to be hands-on, right? So if you don't have your laptop with you, I would advise try to get your laptop, so that we can do this together. Also, so who is a business analyst, right? A business analyst is an agent of change, right? Like we've said, from the definition of the IIB, of the International Institute of Business Analysis, you're enabling change in an organization. Abdul Wakil, could you mute, please? All right. So the business analyst.
Ask a quick question?
Yeah, James, go on.
Okay, so I would love to know what's the difference between a business analyst and a business process improvement analyst.
So they are almost the same, sort of. But a business analyst, where you get to hear that maybe there's a role that says you should be a business analyst, it's sort of general or generic, right? You could be put anywhere. You could be put in product development. You could be put in process improvement. You could be put, anywhere. But when it's specific as per business process improvement analyst, right? That means that you're only going to be specifically working on process improvement. Right. So in business analysis, there's product development where you're working on, developing new products. There's process improvements, and then there's enterprise, solutions where you're working on, ERP, enterprise resource planning and all of that. So if it's specific to say that business process improvement analyst, then you're specifically going to be working on process improvement. Right, so you'll be looking at different processes within a company. Maybe it's a cash expense process, maybe ordering process, maybe sales process, and then you were looking at it to improve it.
Okay, so in a payment system like Visa, I know you have a business process improvement. What does it entail in your organization?
So a process improvement could be, anything. It could be in payments. A process improvement could be in the way customers, make payments, for example, right? So I'll give an example. When you have your card, right, we have, what we call the issuer, we have the merchants, and then we have the acquirers, right? So the merchants, and we have the card holder, definitely. So you, for example, you are the card holder. So you've got a card, right? Let's say GTB, or in the UK, let's say you've got the Lloyds Bank that's issued by Visa, right? So you've got a card, which is your card holder. And then you go to the merchant, right? So a merchant could be a coffee shop, or a clothing store, maybe a Primark, or a Zara store. Those are merchants, right? The bank that issued you that card is called an issuer, right? Because they issued you that card, right? Now the bank with which the merchant, right? The merchant, which is the coffee shop, for example, the coffee shop would have a POS machine, and you would pay, with your card and all of that. The bank that has issued that particular card, the bank that has issued that POS, that point of payment, right, to that particular merchant is called the acquirer, right? So you as a card holder, you go with your card that has been issued to you by Lloyds Bank, right? You go to the coffee shop, you want to buy a cup of coffee, cappuccino, put it on the POS machine, and that's the merchant, right? The money is taken from you, but the money has to be remitted somewhere, right? And that's going to be to the acquirer. That's the bank of the merchant. That could be maybe a Barclays, another bank entirely, right? So that process of, you going to the shop, making the payments and all of that, there could be some, some inefficiencies in it, right? Maybe you tap your card and it's not working properly, or it takes time for it to be able to read your card, because there's a lot of security, checks that needs to be done to make sure you're the owner of the card that you're using, right? So there could be some inefficiencies in that process, right? That's a payment process, right? I could look into that, and try to investigate, okay, what are the gaps in this particular process, and how can I improve on them, and then recommend solutions to that. So that's a classic example in payment industry. But is that clear, James?
Well, yes.
Right.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
it. But yeah, we're not limiting this to payments, right? Because you would find yourself in several, industries, right? It could be in telecoms, it could be in payments, it could be in health, it could be in real estate, it could be in gaming, right? Which is one of the booming, industries that we have today. So yeah, so as a business analyst, you are an agent of change, right? So you're there primarily to enable change in that organization. Secondly, you identify the needs and define the solutions that will maximize, the value that is delivered by an organization to its stakeholders, right? So you identify the needs. What are the problems, that this company is facing? If it's a process that you're looking at, what are the gaps, or inefficiencies in that process? Like I've given, an example, a payment process, for example, right? What are the gaps, right? If I look at telecoms, right? For example, you buy a data bundle, right? A lot of us are familiar with this. When you dial, that short code, maybe *131#, *556, you want to buy a data bundle, and then, it brings out a list of data bundles for you, 10 gig, 5 gig, 20 gig, and then you select the one you want and all of that. One of the gaps there could be that, it takes a customer about 5 minutes, or 10 minutes for them to be able to purchase a data bundle end to end, which is, too much time for a customer to spend, buying the data bundle, right? So let's say, for example, that's MTN, right? So if for Airtel, for example, it takes a customer just about 2 minutes for them to be able to purchase the bundle end to end, that means, their process is, is faster or maybe more seamless, right? So as a business analyst in MTN, I want to look at a way of improving that particular, data purchase process, whereby, I can reduce the time the customer is spending to purchase data from about 5 minutes to, maximum of 2 minutes, so that, you dial the short code, the system responds, gives you the bundles that you need to purchase, it deducts the money, and then you get your data, right? So it's basically you identifying the needs and defining the recommendations for the solutions.
I have
Please,
I have a class to attend.
can we all
I have a
mute?
class to attend.
All right. So you're identifying the needs and you're defining the solutions that will maximize that value, delivered by an organization to stakeholders. Thirdly, you have specialized knowledge to act as a guide and lead the business through unknown or mapped territory, right? So as a business analyst, you act as that guide to lead the business through unknown or mapped territory. Most often than not, the business have an idea of, what they want to do, but they don't have an idea. They don't know where they don't know how to get there, right? So as a business analyst, you guide them, right? But I mean, this guidance doesn't just come because you don't know all things yourself, right? So you just have to research, go online, research, look at places where, such, development or such product has been developed in the past, and see how it's been developed, and then you can lead, the business or guide the business through that, transitioning into their desired or future state. Now, lastly, you're and this is the part that I love, or I really enjoy most about business analysis or being a business analyst. You're an interface between the business teams and the development teams. And I think someone mentioned that, as part of their understanding of business analysis, that you're a bridge, right? So you're that bridge between the business teams and the development teams, right? So when I say the business teams in this case, we categorize them as people from, in companies, you'd have, the marketing department, you'd have the sales department, you'd have finance, you'd have HR, those departments are categorized as the business teams, right? Because they are more or less, focused on, on how the business is going to make money, how the business is going to, go to market, selling the product, and all of that, right? So they are categorized as the business teams. And then you have the development teams, right? The development teams are the technical guys, right? The guys that would typically, do the coding, to bring about the solution, right? So as a business analyst, you are typically, the interface or the bridge between the business teams and the development teams, right? So say, for example, you find yourself working in an e-commerce company, right? And then the company say Amazon, for example, and then they say they want to build a new online, a new e-commerce website specifically for the youth or for Gen Z, for example, right? So someone from marketing would engage you because they would come with an idea. They have a high-level idea to say, okay, we want to build, an e-commerce website specifically for the Gen Zs, because we know that these guys, they are very young, the way they look at, e-commerce is different. The things they want to purchase, they're into gaming, they're into social media, TikTok, and all of that. So we want to, build something that would captivate them. So they'll come to you with that, with that idea, right? That high-level idea. As a business analyst, it's then your responsibility to take that high-level idea and then break it down into bits and pieces, right? So you want to start understanding, okay, what does it then entail for us to build that e-commerce website? Of course, there has to be an interface. There has to be, a category section. There has to be some login features. Of course, before you can even log into the e-commerce website or app, you need to be able to create your password. You need to be able to, create your username and all of that, right? So those are the things you start to break down into bits and pieces as a business analyst, right? So all of this, you go back to the business team, to that person from marketing, maybe the product manager, and then you start to ask questions. Okay, what do you intend, for the categories to look like? Are we going to have categories, for kitchen utensils, for clothing items, for technology products like, the VR? I mean, the things that, these Gen Zs are fascinated about, so you, and that's an elicitation technique, which is another technique in business analysis, entirely, right? So you do all of those things, and then you take all of these requirements. I think Priscilla mentioned something around requirements, right? So requirements are those things that the business wants to achieve, right? So you take all of these requirements and then you pass it on to the development team, the technical guys, right? And the development team will then take this requirement and then build it, right? That's when they do all of use the coding skills, whether using Python or Java, and then they code and then they build the website, and then impute all of the features, login feature, adding to carts, payments integration, and all of those things, right? So you are that interface as a business analyst between the business team, right? Where that high-level requirement came from to say, we want to build an e-commerce website for the youth, or want to build an e-commerce website or an e-commerce app for Gen Zs, right? You take that high-level requirement, you break it down into bits and pieces, you look at the things that it's going to take for you to build that product, or that website or that application, and then you pass on those requirements to the development team for them to build, that particular product, right? So I like this particularly because it's more or less like you're getting the best of both worlds, right? The more you interact with the business teams, the more you start to understand how the business functions, right? Because as a business analyst, you find yourself mostly in the technology department, right? In the IT department, right? So you sometimes don't understand how finance works, how they calculate, all of the profits, and how everything, revenue calculations, and how everything just makes sense. Sometimes I understand that, but the more you interact with the business teams, the more you start to understand things about commercialization, go to market, so you're learning from that in a bit, right? And then you're also interacting with the development team, the technical guys, right? And from there, you start to pick up some technical skills as well. And I try to tell people, especially business analysts, not to shy away from that part, because it's possible, because I mean, even though business analysis in itself is not technical, when you start to interact with development teams, you start to pick up some of these technical skills. You start to pick up things like API integration, calling and response of the API, using SOAP UI to test the APIs. You start to pick up some of these things, right? And it helps you on the long run, in the sense that, I mean, going forward from business analysis, you can decide to transition into another role entirely, right? You could decide to be technical. You could decide to be a cloud computing engineer. Of course, you might have to do some little more trainings and that. But the more you interact, say for example, you've interacted, you're working on a cloud project as a business analyst, right? And you're constantly interacting with cloud engineers. You would, I mean, there's no way you wouldn't pick up some of these cloud, skills. And it's not something that you would have to force. It's something that, to just come natural. And then you see yourself, talking in that light as well. So that's why I really, really, enjoy that particular bit of being that bridge, that interface between the business teams and development. And if it's this business that you feel like you want to go into more, I mean, you can find yourself transitioning into being a product manager, a product owner, right? Because now you understand how the business functions or how they operate, right? So as a business analyst, you are that interface between the business teams and the development teams, which is a very, very good position to find yourself. Right. So that's introduction to business analysis. So just a brief, business analysis process framework, just to run us through. You're working on a project. Of course, first you get oriented with the project, right? You want to build an e-commerce website. You want to understand, what is this all about, right? Why are we building, an e-commerce website for the Gen Zs, right? So you get an orientation of the project. The next thing is to discover the primary business objective. So what is the business objectives for this particular project, right? Is it to increase customer acquisition? Is it to increase revenue? Is it to, improve customer experience? You want to understand the business objectives, right? The third thing is to define the scope. And then the scope is, you want to know to what extent, are we going to build the solution, right? You want to be able to, to put it in a box, right? To what extent are we going to go above and beyond to integrate this e-commerce website into, maybe some music streaming apps, or is it just going to be strictly, an e-commerce website? You want to define the scope, and as an outcome of that, you have the scope statement. The third thing is to formulate the business analysis plan, right? And this is, you planning and telling us, how long it's going to take you to carry out your business analysis deliverables, right? So your requirements and elicitation, drafting up your user requirement document, your functional requirement document, just formulating the plan, how long it's going to take for you to do all of your elicitation, doing your interviews, doing your workshops, and all of those things. All those are, different techniques in business analysis on its own. And then, of course, you move on to defining the detailed requirements, right? To say this is what the business wants to achieve, right? You want to build an e-commerce website for Gen Zs. There has to be a login feature. There has to be a cart feature. There has to be the categories. There has to be, a payment integration. There has to be the option to delivery feature, and all of those things. Also, as a business analyst, you support the technical implementation, right? So even though the development guys or the technical guys are responsible for developing that product, you support them, right? Because there would be some cases where they don't have clarity of some of the requirements, right? So they will come back to you to gain understanding of those requirements, right? So you support them in that technical implementation, and of course you help the business to implement the solution, right? After it has been built, you help them to implement it, to say this is how it's going to work and this is how it works, because you have an understanding of the solution end to end. And then lastly, remember the definition of the business analysis. You're recommending solutions that deliver value, right? So lastly, you need to assess the value that is created by that solution, right? To make sure that it's actually and indeed adding value to the business or to the organization that you're working on or that you're working with. Now, that's introduction to business analysis. Now let's get started with the answer that we're going to be working on today. So like I said, try to get your laptop so that we can do this together. So I've not been checking the chat, so I'm not sure if there's anything in the chat for me. All right, I think Ubong is handling that. It's on top of that if there is. All right, so today we'll be talking about process mapping, which is one of the techniques in business analysis, right? Which is one of the practical, remember we're talking about the practical applications of business analysis, right? And one of the practical applications, that you would find yourself doing or using is process mapping, right? There is no job description that you would find for a business analysis that would not have, the ability for you to be able to build process maps. When you look at any business analysis job description, it's there because it's a key part of your job. It's a key responsibility of a business analyst. Right. So what is process mapping? Process mapping is a technique used to visually map out workflows and processes, right? To visually map out workflows and processes, right? So maybe you have a process, a cash expense process, a payments process or ordering process, and you want to be able to visually map out the flow of that process, right? I'll give an example, right? So let's say a customer SIM acquisition process, right? You want to buy a SIM, right? This is from my experience in MTN. So you want to buy a SIM, right? Which is a SIM acquisition process, right? So as a customer, you want to buy a SIM, you go to an MTN store, you sit down, maybe you pick a number or a number is given to you. You approach when it's your turn, you approach the agent. This is me detailing the process, right? That's a SIM acquisition process, right? So you approach the agent then asks you to sit down. The agent asks you for your name or asks you to fill a form. That's another activity, right? And then from there, the agent takes your biometrics, whether take your picture or takes your thumbprint. That's another activity as part of the process, right? After that, you're given a SIM card and then you make payments, maybe 100 Naira, for the SIM, and then you're asked to put the SIM into your phone, you start your phone, and then your SIM is active. That's a SIM acquisition process, right? So all of that I've listed out, it's easy for me to be able to type it out, right? To say, number one, customer enters the store. Number two, customer approaches agent. Number three, customer agent takes customers' biometrics, takes customers' thumbprint. Customer is given the SIM. Customer inserts SIM into phone. Customer makes payment. You can list all of those things out, but process mapping helps you to visually map out all of those activities, and it's easier for you to be able to view it visually, right? Pictures are, there's a saying that a picture is 1,000 words. A picture explains 1,000 words, right? So a picture makes it clearer, right? So that's what process mapping does, to help you visually map out, those workflows and processes. So it involves creating a process map, also referred to as flowchart, process flowchart, or workflow diagram, right? So the purpose of process mapping is to communicate how a process works in a concise step-by-step map way, right? So you're communicating how that process works, right? I could just tell you, okay, customer walks into the store, customer approaches agent, customer's biometric is taken, but a process map helps you to communicate it in a concise step-by-step map way, right? And we'll be using a case study today, to build a process map, right? So what are the process mapping symbols that we have, right? One of them is, the first one is called a terminal, right? And this is the shape. I hope my slide is still visible. I hope I'm not sharing something else. It's my slide that you're seeing. My cursor moving. Just want to be sure. Is it? Yep. All right, good. Thanks. So terminal, right? So and this is used where the process starts and ends, right? And that's known as a terminal, right? So if for example, if you take a terminal, if you're traveling from Nigeria, for example, to Canada, right? You get to the airport, right? To get to Nigerian airport, you hear that your flight is departing from Terminal 1 or Terminal 2 or Terminal 4, that's where your journey starts, right? And then you get to Canada airport, and then you hear that, you're landing at Terminal 1 or Terminal 2 or Terminal 3 or Terminal 4. That's where your journey stops, right? So in process mapping, if you want to start a process, right, you use a terminal, or you want to end the process, a terminal is used, to signify that this is the start or the end of a process, right? Just as, you start your journey from the Terminal 1 in the airport and end your journey at another terminal in another airport. Right. So the second symbol is called an activity, right? A task or an activity in the process, right? And this is a rectangular shape, right? It's called an activity, right? So all of the activities I've listed out, for example, customer walks into the store, that's an activity. Customer approaches the agent. Customer's biometric is taken, that's an activity. Customer makes payment. Those are activities that is part of the process, right? So if you want to signify an activity as part of the process, you use, this symbol. And then we've got this that looks like a diamond. It's called a decision point, right? So this is where a decision has to be made, right? So different process parts and actions are taken as a result from different decisions, right? So if you get to a point where you need to make a decision, right? For example, the customer is making a payment, right? So you want to check if the payment is authorized or the payment is not authorized. Those are two different parts, right? Because if the payment is authorized, it's until then you give the customer the same. If the payment is not authorized, the customer won't get the same, right? So there are two different parts and two different decisions, right? So if there's a point where you need to make a decision, right, use the decision point symbol. Also, we've got this, which is called the sub-process, right? So a sub-process, basically, like I like to explain it, is a process within a process, right? So you've got a process, right? For example, we're talking about the SIM acquisition process, for example, right? So let's say as part of the SIM acquisition process, there is another process called, as part of the SIM acquisition process, there is a payment process where the customer has to make payment, and that's another process on its own, right? So if you want to be able to show that there's a process within this entire process, you'd use a symbol, right? The process you're trying to build, or the process map you're trying to build, could be just the SIM acquisition process, right? But you want to indicate that, okay, as part of this SIM acquisition process, there is another process, that the customer will still have to do, but you don't want to flesh out on that process, right? then you use the symbol to indicate that it shows a process within another process, right? And then we've got a document, right, symbol. So it is a written on an electronic document. So if as part of your process map, you need to be able to show that, okay, there's a document that needs to come out, as an output of this or as an input of something, then you can use this symbol to indicate that. And of course, we've got database, right? So if as part of a process map, there's or as part of the process, you need to pull data from database. You need to get data from database. You need to write into a database. You need to indicate that as part of the process map. And this will be used, to signify that. And then we've got input and output, right? Such as information or report. So if as part of the process, there needs to be an information that will be fed into an activity or as an output of an activity or a report, this symbol is used for that. And lastly, we've got the connector, right? The connector is used to continue the process map on another page, right? So let's say you're working on a process map that is very complex, and you can't finish it on a particular page, and you need to continue on the next page. A connector is used to symbolize that, right? So at the end of that process map on the first page, you put this symbol, which is a connector, right? And then you put an A there, right? And then when you go to the next page to continue the process map, you start with this connecting symbol and with the same A, the same letter A, right? So whoever is looking at it is able to tell that, okay, if I'm on the first page, I'm able to tell that, okay, this particular process map has not ended. It continues on another page, right? And then when I go to the next page and I see the same symbol and the same letter, I'm able to tell that this is a continuation from the previous page, right? So a connector is used, to symbolize that. There are other process mapping symbols, but these are the most significant ones that you would find yourself using as a business analyst. Right, this is a sample of the process map that we'll be building today. So quickly, just going to share with us the link. So we're going to be using a tool called Draw.io to build our process map. Let me just grab that quickly. Yes, I've just direct message. So I've just shared that in the chat. Right, so we'll be using Draw.io to build our process map. But before we do that, like I said, we'll be working on a case study. So let me just quickly share that case study. 1 second. Okay, please let me know if you're able to see my my new screen, process mapping case study, a Word document. Are you able to see it?
Yeah, we can.
All right, thanks. Priscilla, you have your hand raised. Do you have a question? Okay, I think that's an old one. All right. So yeah, so we'll be working on this case study, to build our process map. And then I'm just going to. All right. Process mapping case study. Right. So like I always like to say or to tell people, for the purpose of this class, I want you all to put on the art of a business analyst, right? You're here to learn, this is a masterclass. You're here to learn about this, you want to transition into tech, you want to take on this course, and all of that. So I like to say, put on the art of a business analyst. Let's walk through this case study together. So imagine that you're a business analyst for today, right? You've started working as a business analyst and you're working with this company. You've been given this, this task to work on. Priscilla, do you want to ask a question quickly? Priscilla? Hi, Priscilla. Can't hear you. Lewis, can you just hold on?
Okay. I was trying to
you.
unmute. It was telling me I wasn't allowed.
All right.
To be okay. When I click on the link, it just takes me online. It doesn't allow me download. Am I only allowed to use it on the web?
You can use it on the web. You can download it, but I would advise you use it on the web. It's just easier on the web.
Oh,
But
okay.
we'll get there, right? We'll just hold on.
Alright.
If you have not clicked on the link yet, it's fine. We'll get there. But just want
Alright.
us to walk through the case study first, and then we'll.
All right.
All right. So this is a case study, right? So just a disclaimer: companies mentioned in this case study are fictitious and are for educational purposes only. So scenarios, events, and names mentioned in this case study are fictitious, and any resemblance of actual persons, corporations, or institutions are purely coincidental, right? So what is the project objective? So you have been employed to Jumia Tech, right? A lot of us are familiar with Jumia, so I had to use Jumia here so that Jumia is an e-commerce company, similar to Amazon. It's an e-commerce company in West Africa or in Nigeria, most common. For those of us that are not familiar with it, it's similar to Amazon that you've got in the West, similar to eBay, Konga, and the likes. So the project objective. So you have been employed to Jumia Tech as a business analyst during the pandemic of 2020. We are all familiar with, COVID. All of us on this call were alive, when COVID happened and hit the world, right? The pandemic, and everyone had to lock themselves in. So you have been employed to Jumia Tech as a business analyst during the pandemic of 2020. And you are tasked with coming up with new process steps to resolve Jumia Tech's online purchases in-store pickup process and their tech support process in response to the pandemic, right? So there are two processes here, but we're going to be working on just one process, which is the online purchases in-store pickup process, right? For the purpose of this masterclass. All right, so what's the background? Jumia Tech is a large supplier of consumer hardware devices, right? Such as laptops, tablets, printers, monitors, and cables, right? They have large stores in every state and also have an online store where customers can purchase items online and have it delivered to their home or delivered to the nearest Jumia Tech store. So I hope we are following, right? This is a supplier of large hardware devices. They have large stores in every state, and they have an online store where customers can purchase items online, right? Just like your normal stores, your normal online website, right? So the customer can choose to have it delivered, when you purchase an item online, you can choose to have it delivered to your house or delivered to the nearest, Jumia store close to your house, right? So that you don't pay, delivery fee. Right. So Jumia Tech also offers tech support services to small and medium-sized companies. We're not really focused about this, right? But the background for Jumia, this is it. Now, the in-store pickup process, which is a process that we are focused on for this particular case study. Right. So currently, the process to handle pickup of online sales is as follows, right? When a customer buys, so remember the focus here is in-store pickup process. When the customer orders online and they want to pick up their item at the closest store to their house, right? In this case, the customer has decided, I don't want the item delivered to my house. I want to pick it up at the closest store, and it's valid, right? Because for a couple of customers, they will probably be like, if I've got a store that is close to my house, that's probably 5 minutes walk to my house, why do I need to pay delivery fee, to deliver it to my house, right? So delivery fee could be maybe $5 or maybe 1,000 naira. I could save myself 1,000 naira or $5, by just walking up to the store and picking up my item, right? Maybe I'm on my way back from work, I just walk up to the store, pick up my item, and I've saved myself, if, for example, I order 5 times in a month, I've saved myself 5,000 naira, or $25 in a month, right? So this is a valid scenario, right? For customers, right? And remember, the customers are always first, so you want to satisfy the customer, right? So when a customer buys an item online, they can choose to have it delivered to their nearest Jumia Tech store as one of their delivery options. When it arrives to the store, the customer is notified by email and text messages, and the customer goes to the store to pick up the item. When the customer arrives at the store, they usually must join a line to wait to receive the item, and this wait could take up to 20 minutes just to receive the item. This is because item pickup is done at the customer service line along with other customer service requests. Once it's their turn, the customer has to verify their identity and provide the tracking number sent in the email or text message in order to receive the item. The agent finds the package with the tracking number that matches what the customer gave and verifies the identity of the customer. Then the customer is given the item and can then leave the store. Now, the problem, because of the pandemic and social distancing requirements, the store can no longer have long lines for customer service. So remember when COVID happened, there has to be, social distancing. You have to stand 2 meters apart. People shouldn't be crowded in one area. There were a lot of laws by the health regulatory bodies, around that. So because of the pandemic and social distancing requirements, the store can no longer have long lines for customer service. How can they still provide a good service for their customers who make purchases online and need to receive the item quickly? So your task is to find a COVID-safe way to help customers pick up the items that are purchased online. So you need to design a new workflow that would demonstrate the new processes. Now, for those of us that have been following, what do you think is the problem here? Anybody? What's the As a business analyst, you need to be able to, identify the problem statement. What is the problem in this case? All right, Femi, you wanna go? Femi, you have your hand raised. Take Kweku afterwards. Femi. Okay, Femi is not responding. Kweku, do you wanna go?
Okay, so it seems the thing is they want to digitalize their system. They want to take it on a more digital system where people won't come there physically. So they are moving it from let's say, the analog to the digital system.
Okay, but what's the problem statement? Anybody? Thanks for that, Kweku. Femi, do you wanna go?
Okay, so from this case study, what I'm seeing is even prior to COVID, there has been delay in customer experience from online pickup store. So now, with the fact that there was already an identified delay of 20 minutes in queue, COVID now brought in an additional problem where the store cannot even handle so much crowd anymore. So the problem now is, how do you still maintain, an improved customer service despite reduced, workspace? So that's where I think the problem is.
Yeah, fantastic. That's very succinct and concise. Thanks for that, Femi. All right. So who can suggest, possible solutions? Okay, we'll probably get there later on. Lewis and Ramon will come back to you, but we need to sort of run for the purpose of time. So now we all understand this case study, right? This is clear, right, to us. So we're going to proceed to building our process map, right? So let me just share my process mapping page. Where is it now? Right. So if you click on that, please let me know if you're able to see my process mapping, draw.io, the one that says flowchart maker online. If you're able to see that, just let me know. Yes, all right, good. So if you're here, right, for most of us, I want to believe that you're here right now. So if you've clicked on that link, you should be here, right? Oops, let me just do that again. All right, so you have device. So it's going to ask you to save, saving options, right? So you're going to say device, Google Drive and all of that. You should choose device. Mine is already set at device by default because I've already done this a couple of times, right? So choose device to save as, so that you can have this saved to your device, right? If you decide to save it in Google Drive, it's just going to going to be a bit difficult for you to locate it sometime later. So choose the option to save it to your device, right? This symbol, you should find that as part of the options. So choose to save the device to ask you to give it a name. So you can give it a name, Tenalytics Masterclass or Process Mapping. Just give it a name, right? So if you've done that, then you can come here to click on Create New Diagram, right? I click on Create New Diagram. Right, so here you can see there are different, templates that, Draw.io would give you. There's class diagram, there's flowchart. These are different types of, of process maps that you can use. There's swim lane, there's entity relationship diagram, there's sequence diagram, there's cross-functional flowchart, right? But the most common one is the flowchart diagram, right? Followed by the swim lane diagram. But we'll be using the flowchart, right? The simple flowchart diagram, right? But that's a template. So if you want to use a template, you can click on that. Don't click on it yet. Don't click on it. I just want to show you. So you can click on this, click on create, right? So it gives you, just give me to save this. So it gives you, a template to use, right? But we don't want to use a template. We want to draw our process map from scratch. So that you can see that, you built your process map from scratch. Right, so here, if you come here, you can see blank diagram. So I want you to click on blank diagram, right? Click on blank diagram and then click on create. So it's going to ask you to save this to your device. So you can save this. So I'm just going to give this Jumia Tech process map and then save. Right. So here I'm on this plain canvas at the moment. If you're here at the moment, should we change the file name before clicking on blank diagram? If you want to, you could change it, but it's still going to ask you to save, Lewis. Anyway, so if you've been able to get to this blank diagram, can you indicate or put in the chat? Let's know. If you can see, if you've gotten to the blank canvas. All right, Femi, that's good. Just to know. Those of us that are okay. Akini, that's good. Who else? Ayotunde, fantastic. Who else? One more people want to Afua, that's good. Francis, that's good. Parents Watch Initiative, fantastic. Nonye, that's good. Busola, that's good. Okeke, Chibuke, Augustine, that's good. Who else is joining us on this journey? Jennifer, fantastic, good. So we have quite a number of people that are following us. Right. So we're going to build our process map. Right. So I'd mentioned earlier that there will be a list of activities, right? So you've gotten the requirement, that case study that we looked at, right? So someone from marketing has engaged to say, we have this problem, right? Our customers wait 20 minutes to pick up their item in the store. COVID has happened and all of that, then as a business analyst, you then need to start asking questions. Okay, how does this process work today, right? Which they have given us the background. They told us, when the customer arrives at the store, they must join a line, to pick up the item, and then the agents, they must provide the tracking number. They're giving us all of that. All of those are list of activities, right? So I'm just going to paste those list of activities, right, on the charts for the purpose of time. I'm just going to paste them quickly so we can follow through. Put those in the chart so you can have that in the chart, or you can copy it elsewhere if you wish, right? That's in the chart. That's the list of, so that's the pickup process as it is today, right? Based on the background that they had given to us, right? And who can remember what we say the BA term is for that current process? Anyone? The current process for that particular for Jumia Tech Store for in-store pickup process. What's the BA term for it? Mention it at some point. ASIS, good. But Babatunde Nosai, Parents Watch, yeah. So the ASIS, ASIS, the ASIS process, is what they are given to us, right? So for you to build your process map, you need to be able to build the ASIS process map, right? And then you can then build the future state, which is a to-be process map, right? So we're going to start to build our ASIS process map. Right. So we're going to start the process map. So for us to start, what did we say? We want to start this process map. Which symbol did you say we need to use to start the process map? Anybody? Lewis says terminal, good. Parents watch initiative says Terminator. Okay, that's quite funny, but yeah, you're close, but it's terminal, right? Yeah. You want to? Just hope you don't want to terminate us here on this call, but yeah. So yeah, we need to start with the terminal symbol. So when you come here, you can see different symbols, right? Different process mapping symbols, right? And some of them we had mentioned. So ellipse is the name, of the shape, which is the terminal. This is the sub-process, that we mentioned and all of that. So I'm gonna click on this terminal, and then when I click on it, it brings it, to the blank canvas that I have. Right. So I'm gonna drag this up, to the top because I want my, process map to all the way down. Yeah, so I'm gonna drag this up. I'm going to reduce it because it's a bit big. Right, so when you click on it, you can reduce or click on it. If you select any of these dotted points, you can increase or reduce the size. Right, so I'm just going to type in starts there. So this is saying that we are starting this process. Right. So based on the list of just gonna oval shape. Yeah. I'm just gonna paste the activities again just so you can or can someone else just paste it in the chat again so that it's one of the freshest stuff on the chat. I'm gonna paste it again. Yeah. Right. So based on the list of activities that I mentioned, what's the next activity? Anyone? What's the next activity there? What's the next line of action, basically? Let's see. That's the customer puts item in the cart and accesses checkout page. Right. So for me to be able to indicate that particular action, what symbol am I going to use? Based on the process mapping symbols that we mentioned. What symbol are we going to use to indicate that? Anyone? The rectangle, fantastic. Activity, yeah. So it's called an activity. The shape is a rectangle shape, but it's called an activity symbol, right? So I don't want us to mix the name of the shape and the symbol, and the name of the symbol. In BA, it's called an activity symbol, but the name of the shape is rectangle, right? So we're going to use, the activity symbol, which is a rectangle shape, right? So if you over on this first diagram that you see some arrows, right? On each side of the diagram. If I over on this one, it gives me suggestions of most commonly used process mapping symbols, right? So the next shape I want is an activity symbol, right, which is this rectangle. So I click on it, and then you can see that it connects to the shape automatically. So I'm just going to do that again. Over on this, come to the arrow, click on the activity symbol, and then you have it. And then I can reduce the shape and then try to align it, reduce it a bit. Right. So customer accesses checkout page. We're going to run a bit faster for purpose of time. Customer puts item in cart and accesses checkout page. Puts item in cart and accesses checkout page. Right. If I want to reduce the font of this, I could just, highlight, double click on the text, right? When you come here, you can see on this menu bar, the font size 12, so I can reduce this to 10. Right. So customer puts item in cart and accesses, there should be S. There's a lot of S. And accesses checkout page, right? So the customer has checked the item they want to, select, and they've added it to their cart, and they check, their checkout page. Now, the next activity, right, is that the customer selects the in-store pickup option, right? Remember, as part of, the customer on the website, the customer will decide when they've put the item in the cart and they want to check out, to ask them to choose a delivery option, whether to deliver to their house, to their homes, which, they're going to pay delivery fee for, or to pick it up at a store close to them. Remember, the focus of this case study is for the in-store pickup option, not for delivery to homes, right? So the process we are looking at is the in-store pickup process, where the customer has to pick up the item from the closest store to their house, right? So I'm going to select another activity, same activity box. But I can do that. So here you can see that it suggests the previous one that I just put the same shape and size. So I click on that. I try to reduce because I know this is going to be quite a lengthy process map. So I try to reduce the line, and then I delete this and put customer selects in-store pickup option. Right. And then the next activity is that customer makes payment or customer makes online purchase, right? So I do the same thing over on this, click on the next, reduce this bit, and I can put customer makes payment. Right. Now we want to, the customer has made payments or attempts to make payment. The system needs to be able to check if the payment has been accepted or not, right? If the payment has been authorized or not, because sometimes the customer is trying to make payment and they don't have enough money, in the card that they're trying to use, or the card is just not valid, right? So the card can be declined or it can be accepted, right? So this is basically a point where we're going to go to two different parts, right? Who can tell us what symbol we need to use in this case? Anyone? What symbol are we using? Decision point. Yeah, thanks, Becky. Thanks, Femi. Yeah, that shows that we are all following. Fantastic. So the decision point. So I come here again. Over on this arrow, I can see the decision point, right? So I click on it. I reduce the length of the arrow, reduce the length of the decision point itself, right? So I want to check, is the payment authorized? So I put in there payment authorized. Reduce the font to 10. Payment authorized, yes or no? If it is a no, the payment has been declined, right? Then you have to display declined message to the customer, right? So the next activity here, over on this, click on the activity shape, reduce this box, try to align it a bit. Payment authorized, no. So for me to type in my no, when you come to the arrow, you can double click on that arrow, the arrow that links your decision point to your activity box. You can double click on it. So it opens up a text box for you, and then you can type in no. Payment authorized, no. Display decline message to the customer. Reduce the font, give this a 10. Right. Payment authorized, no. Display decline message to the customer, because at this point, the customer is trying to make payments. So maybe they don't have enough funds in their card. So the system will tell them, dear customer, sorry, you have insufficient funds, and they will get that message, on the app, right? And for this particular customer, we can say that the process has ended for them because their payment is not authorized. They can't make payment. They can't make purchase for the item they want. They've gotten a decline message, and technically the process has ended for this customer, right? So we're going to use again, what symbol are we using to end the process? Anyone? To end this process. We've used it before. The terminal, yeah. So you start the process with the terminal, and then you end the process with the terminal, right? So I can select this circle, even though it's a circle, but I can reshape it to be in an oval form, right? So for this particular customer, we can just put end because the process has ended for that customer, right? Now, for this particular customer where the payment has been authorized, so payment authorized, no, display this decline message to customer. Payment authorized, if it's a yes, then you display success message to the customer, and then you send confirmation email to the customer, right? So payment authorized, the next activity, so I put a yes, yes. Payment authorized, yes. And then I have the next activity there. Two folks have got Ramon, you've got your hand raised. Do you have a question? Hi, Ramon.
No,
Okay,
this is
Priscilla.
Priscilla.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the part where you put display decline message, it's going to be like a pop-up here, which is like a kind of as a result of an action that has been taken, right?
Yeah.
So is that not supposed to be like the output, the other one that is shaped like a curve at the bottom of the rectangle? That's, you know, when you listed, no, the one that says display decline message.
Yeah.
The decline message is not an output.
An output, yeah, of the, yeah. So yeah, that's a good point, right? So it could also be an activity by the system, right? To say the system, you know, displaying the decline message, but also you could also, you know, use the output symbol as well, you know, to indicate that. Yeah. Is it clear?
All right.
All right. So payment authorized, yes. Display success. So I'm gonna break this down. Display success message and send, because the system that is sending all of this to this to the customer at this point, and send confirmation email to the customer with tracking number. Right, so I'm going to reduce the font to 10. Yeah. Display success message and send confirmation email to the customer with tracking number. Right, so if you follow this, it starts the process. The customer puts, you know, the customer check, okay, do I want to buy this clothes? Do I want to buy this shoe? You know, the customer puts all of those items in their carts, and then they look at their checkout page. Then at that point, the customer is asked to select, you know, their delivery option. The customer selects in-store pickup option. The customer tries to make payment. Is the payment authorized? If it's a no, they display a decline message to the customer, and that ends the process for that particular customer. For another customer, if the payment is authorized, if it's a yes, then display success message, and then send confirmation email to the customer with the tracking number. If you're followed up onto this point, can you put so Gift is asking, why did you introduce a decision point? I got confused at payment authorization because it's a decision point, right? We need to be able to tell if the payment has been authorized or not, right? If the customer is able to make payment or not based on, you know, based on enough money or sufficient funds in their card, right? So is the payment authorized if it's in, because you can't have the same action, right? For when the payment is not authorized and for when the payment is authorized, right? There will be different paths, right? So if the payment is not authorized, then I mean I can't give you my goods if you've not been able to make payment, right? So I have to send you a decline message, and you know you need to go and fund your card. But if the payment has been authorized and the system can confirm that, you know, I've taken the money from the card, then that's when I proceed, you know, to give you tracking number, say your good will be ready so dates, right? So is that clear? Gifts. All right. Yeah, that's not an activity. That's a decision point. Yeah, correct. So if you followed up onto this part, can you give a thumbs up or a yes in the chat? Let's know how far we have got. Okay, Luis, that's good. Sylvia, that's good. iPhone, Busola, parents, Femi, Edward, fantastic. Who else? Augustine, good. Becky, good. Xiaomi, Ritzy, okay, good. We have quite a number of people following us. Fantastic, right? At the end of this masterclass, you'll be able to say that you've built your own process map, which is something really, really good, I must say. So yeah, so you display success message to the customer and send tracking number to the customer, right? So at this point, the system then places the item, you know, in awaiting store delivery queue, right? Which is another activity, right? So I can use this another activity symbol. So system places item in awaiting store delivery queue. Can reduce the size of this shape a bit. You can leave it. Right. So, you know, for most of these e-commerce companies, Amazon's and the likes, you know, Jumia, all of these items that we buy on the website are not 100% owned by them, right? They've got vendors, right, that supply them. You know, they've got a vendor that supplies the shoes, different shoes. They've got a vendor that supplies the clothes, kitchen utensils, you know. So most times when a customer orders an items, you know, the vendor has to bring, you know, Amazon, for example, or Jumia would notify the vendor, and the vendor would have to bring it down to their, you know, to their warehouse where it is then packaged and then it is delivered, you know, to the store, right? So at this point, it's saying that, you know, the item is, the system places the item in awaiting store delivery queue, right? So the store, which, you know, which is closest to the customer's house, is still waiting for the item to be delivered to their store, right? So the item is in awaiting store delivery queue, right? So you don't want to check, right, at this point, has the item been delivered to the store, right? For us to be able to check this, we need to use another decision point, right? So I'm going to use another decision point here. Item delivered. We're running a bit out of time. To the store. I'm going to reduce the fonts. Give it a 10. Item delivered to the store. If it's a yes, if item has been delivered to the store, then, you know, you then send a delivery notification email to the customer to say your item has been delivered and is ready for pickup, right? So on this side, I'm just going to put another activity, right? And say yes. Item delivered to the store, yes, then send delivery notification to the customer. Yeah, delivery notification, email, and text message to the customer. Right. So if the item has been delivered, you know, the customer then get a message, your item is ready for pickup and all of that. But if the item has not been delivered to the store yet, then you want to ask another question, right? Is the expected delivery date passed? Right? Is the expected delivery dates passed? Now, remember, all of these are as an outcome of you asking questions, you know, from the business team, right? The marketing guys that gave you this problem statement in the first place, right? So they'll tell you this is how it works. You know, if the item is not delivered at the store, we then need to check if the expected delivery date has passed, you know, and all of that. So is item delivered to the store? Yes, you send delivery notifications to the customer. Item delivered to the store? No. So you want to check, is the expected delivery date passed, right? And you need to check this because for most of these vendors, they've got SLAs, right, with these companies, right, service level agreement to say, you know, if a customer places an item today, for example, right, you should, under 2 or 3 days, the vendor should be able to deliver it to the store, right? That's you know, that's a typical SLA that they would have, right, with the company to say if a customer places an order today, within 2 days, the vendor should be able to deliver the item to the store, right? So let's say, for example, I mean, today is Saturday. Let's say, for example, today is Sunday. Let's say the expected delivery date for that item is Sunday, right? Which is tomorrow, right? And then at this point, we are checking, is the expected delivery date passed? I mean, the expected delivery date has not passed because we are still the expected delivery date is tomorrow, which is Sunday, right? So which is going to be a no, right? So that means we are still awaiting for that item to be delivered to the store, correct? So the expected delivery date passed. In the scenario that I've given, expected delivery dates that we've agreed with the vendor is that they should deliver on Sunday to the store. But today is Saturday, right? So the expected delivery date has not passed, right? So that means we're still waiting for the item to be delivered to the store. So we need to link this back, you know, to this particular, you know, decision point, right? So for me to do that, I hover on this again, right? I can click on any shape, right? But I don't need the shape, so I'm going to delete it. All I need is the arrow, right? Because I just want to link this back here. So I click on the arrow, click on one of the connecting points, right? The one on the tip of the arrow, and then I drag it up to this point. So you can see it highlights, gives a green background to show that, a green highlight to show that that has been connected, right? So I leave it. I can do that again. On this, drag it up here. Yeah, so you can see that highlights, see this is connected. But this is not how I want it to look like, right? So I'm going to click on the arrow again, right? And then I'm going to drag this down. To this point, right? This is what I want it to look like, right? So you are always constantly having to, move the arrows, the connectors, the lines. It's just like, in a way, let's say architecture sort of, right? So because remember, you're building a process map, right? So I know this is the first time a couple of us are doing this, so you might not get the alignment the first couple of times, but trust me, the more you do it, it's the same with every tool. I mean, the first time you use a tool, you won't 100% get it, right? But the more you do it, the more you try your hands on it, the more seamless it is to you, right? So I'm just going to do that again for those that might be struggling with it. So so I hover on this again, right? Select any shape I want. I delete the shape because I don't need it. Click on the arrow, click on the tip of the arrow. I drag it up to the shape I want to connect it to. I can see that green highlighted dots. I leave it, but this is not how I want it to be. I select the arrow again. All of these blue points are connectors, right? So I can click on any of these points, to drag it down or to drag out the arrow, right? But I want this to be here, so I click on this. So I click on this. Yeah, sometimes it can be funny. Yep. So just to align it, I can bring this down a bit. Yep. So is expected delivery date passed? No. So expected delivery date is not passed. So that means we're still waiting for the item to be delivered to the store. Right. So let's now say, for example, I mean, the expected delivery date that we've given to the customer or to the vendor, right, based on the SLA is Sunday. So let's say today is Monday, for example, right? That means the delivery date has passed, right? Which is a yes. Then we need to, be able to do something else, trigger something else, maybe, engage the customer service, engage the vendor. Maybe there's a vendor process, there's a, to call the vendor to say, okay, what's happening? Why have you not delivered the item you were supposed to deliver yesterday, which is Sunday, today is Monday? Are there logistic issues? Don't you have the item available? There's a whole other process to engage the vendor to understand, why it has not been delivered, right? So who can tell us what symbol we can then use to indicate that? What symbol can we then use? Anybody? We want to show another process, right? Which is maybe vendor management process or delivery management process, and all of that. We mentioned what symbol do we then use? What's it called? Yeah, a sub-process. Yeah, so Femi, you're correct. Can see you said maybe a sub-process. Yes, it's a sub-process, right? So it's a process within a process, right? So we need to trigger that particular sub-process, right? So I click on the arrow to have more options. So if you hover on this, you can see it just gives you the 4 most used symbols. But if you click on that arrow, it gives you more options. And here you can see the sub-process, right? So I can click on that sub-process, right? And then I can put in, delivery management process. Reduce this to 10, reduce the size a bit. Right. So delivery management process, right? So is expected delivery date passed? Yes. So trigger delivery management process. So maybe the store manager would then have to call the vendor to say, we expected this item to be delivered yesterday. Today is Monday, what's happening? That's a whole other process, that they have to engage the vendor with. But we are not concerned about that particular process. Remember, the process we're trying to build here is the in-store pickup process, right? But because this particular sub-process is a process that is impacted as part of this entire process, we need to still highlight it or indicate it, right? But we don't need to flesh it out, right? So say, for example, someone else is then reading your process map and then they want to understand the delivery management process. Then you can build a separate process map to show them what the delivery management process looks like, right? Maybe some manager calls the vendor, asks vendor for reasons why they have not, vendor submits a form, all of those things here and there, right? So it triggered delivery management sub-process. Right. So back to this customer who, that back to when the item has been delivered to the store. So item delivered to the store, yes, you send delivery notification message to the customer, right? And then when the customer has gotten that notification, the customer then does what? The customer arrives at the store. Right. And then when the customer arrives at the store, according to the assist process that we've been given, the customer joins the service line queue. And then afterwards, the customer provides a tracking number, right? Customer provides tracking number and identity. And afterwards, the agent then needs to check if the tracking number matches, right? So for the agent to check if the tracking number matches, there needs to be a decision point. So I click on decision point, right? Tracking number matches. I'm going to reduce the font of this, give it a 10. Tracking number matches. If it is a no, if the tracking number does not match, I mean, the agent has checked the tracking number that the customer has provided is not matching what is on the system, then there's an issue somewhere, right? So for that, you want to trigger the delivery management process again, so that the store manager or the customer service unit can then figure out what the issue is. Maybe the system provided the wrong tracking number to the customer, or maybe there's a problem with the system itself, right? So if the tracking number does not match, if it's a no, then you trigger delivery management process, right? So I'm just going to align this a bit. Tracking number matches, no. Trigger delivery management sub-process. If the tracking number matches, then the agent is going to check if the ID of the customer matches, right? So I'm just going to reduce this a bit. If the tracking number matches, then you proceed to check the ID of the customer, right? So tracking number matches, yes. Then you check the identity of the customer to make sure that it's a customer that has ordered the item that is coming to pick it up, right? Identity matches. If the identity of the customer does not match, what happens again? You trigger delivery management process so that they can go and figure out what the issue is, right? So I link this back here. It's not where I want it to be, so took it back up. Identity matches, nope. Trigger delivery management process. Identity matches. If identity matches, if it's a yes, then the customer does what? The customer receives the item. Identity matches, yes, then customer receives the item. Right, because the tracking number has matched, the identity of customer has matched, then we can say this is the right customer for this item, and then we can give them the item, right? And then, because we have done all of that, the process has ended for this customer, and then we can then bring it back up. Let me just reduce this a bit so you can see the full, right? So this, and then I can end the process here. So I can drag out this, my connectors, click on the arrow. Yeah, that has ended the process. So this is your assist process map for Jumia in-store pickup option, right? So I can give this a rename. I can name this, right? And then say, double click on this. So if you come here, if you want to rename it, come to page 1 down here on the left here, double click on it. And then you have can rename it Assist in-store pickup process. Rename. Right. If you've been able to follow up until the end, to this point, right? Do you want to give a yes on the reaction? Let's know. Does that blessing good? Femi, fantastic. Babatunde iPhone, that's really good. That's really impressive, guys. Xiaomi, good, nice. It's Edward. Wow, I never knew we could have a lot of people follow us through to the end. That's good, Elvis. Fantastic. Busola, that's good. Louis, that's wonderful. Blessing, you have your hand raised. You have a question? Quickly, Blessing. Or maybe it's a reaction you're giving. All right. So yeah, to give it a bit of, aesthetic and to make it look nice, you might want to give it some color, right? Some coloring. So I could come here and say, the stats, I could give it a green. So if you want to give this a color, you come to the menu options here. You can see here, it says fill color, right? Fill color. So if I select this, I can give this a green to say, okay, that is the start of the process map. If I want to, these are three similar shapes, right? But if I want to, give this a color, I could come and select it again. So you have to select it and then come here. I could give this a, let's say an orange, right? But if I want to make it faster, I can select these two shapes together, right? So I come outside of the shape, click and then drag to cover those two shapes. It selects both of them and I can come to fill color and give them the color I want, right? For payment authorizes a decision point, we can give this a yellow just to indicate, the amber color, this is an activity. I can give this the same orange. For this again, I could give this all three of this same activity shape. For this is another activity shape. Give this an orange. For my decision points, I've said I'm going to use yellow, so I can select both of them. Give it a yellow. For this, I can give this two same orange. Been given it. For by two activities, I can give this another yellow. For my sub process, you could give it a blue so that it stands on its own, so that the sub process. This is an activity. I can give this another orange. For the end, of course, you could just give this a red to say, this ends process, right? So this is your assist in-store pickup option. Now, after we've built the assist, right? What is the next process map that we then need to build? Anyone? This is the assist, but remember, we can't just stop at the assist, right? What is then the next process map we then need to build? The to be, yeah, the future state. Gift, you have a question here. You can ask your question quickly. Yeah, the future state, which is to be. Right. So for the purpose of this, we're going to build it to be, right? So for you to build it to be, to give a recommendation, remember there can be diverse solutions, to this problem, right? Like some people are suggesting you want to digitalize it. Someone could say that, maybe you want to build a scheduling system, to make sure that you give a customer a time slot so that they can come and pick up the item at that time. With that way, customers, there won't be too much crowd, at the pickup center. So there could be different solutions, right? Your solution just has to be justifiable. Why are you choosing this solution at this time, right? So for me, I'm going to choose a very simple solution because, say, for example, maybe the health regulatory bodies has given us maybe 2 weeks to implement, an improvement, and we are constrained by time, or maybe we're constrained by maybe resources or money as well. We can't build a scheduling system or a digital system, right? So maybe what we can just do, and that's what most companies did at the time, just put a dedicated area, right? Like a drive-up area where you're going to pick up your item, you stay in that area, you don't come into the store, and then we ask you to stay 2 meters apart, and then the agent comes out, verifies your ID, verifies the tracking number. If it matches, the agent goes back inside and then bring out your package. By that way, we are limiting the number of people in the store. The people outside, maybe create a shed. The people outside are, able to pick up the items, stand 2 meters apart, and we are still able to solve the problem considering the constraints, right, that we have, right? So that's a possible solution, right? So to do that, right, I'm just going to duplicate this particular process map so we don't have to start all over again, right? Because all of the activities for the future state is still the same, right? It's basically the same up until the point when the customer arrives at the store. Remember that the point where we need to solve, right, is when the customer arrives at the store and they have to join that service line queue, right? So I'm just going to duplicate this particular page. So when you come here to your assist in-store pickup option, if you right click on it, you would have options to duplicate, right? So open a new window, duplicate, delete, rename. So I can click on duplicate, right? And then it duplicates this on another page, as you can see, right? So I can rename this to be in-store pickup process. Right? And then the point I'm going to change is, the customer arrives at the store, customer drives up to pickup area, drives or walks up to pickup area. Right? So when that happens, the Jumia agent then takes the customer's tracking number, Jumia agent verifies customer's tracking number, takes the customer's tracking number, right? And then they still check, does the tracking number match? Does the identity match? If it is a yes, the customer then, the Jumia agent then takes the item. At this point, the Jumia agent takes the item to the customer, Right. So the activities that are changing to improve this process basically is that instead of the customer to join the service line queue, the customer waits in a designated area. The Jumia agent comes out, collects the customer's tracking number and the ID, verifies the tracking number, verifies the identity. If it matches, then the Jumia agent picks up the item from the store, then goes out to this designated area and then gives the item to the customer, right? So that is the to-be, right? Considering, this is a solution that you want to recommend considering the time constraint and the cost constraint, right? So someone's asking to go over the duplicate, right? So when you come here, right, click on this, do a right click on it, right? When you're on this page, on that page that you want to have, right? So this is the assist, right? If I right click on it, I have the option to duplicate. So you can see duplicate here, right? So you click on duplicate, it's going to open this up on another page, right? So I'm just going to delete this. Hope that's clear, right? So for us to be able to, indicate the improvements that we've made, the activities that are changing, I could just give this to, shapes a green color so that anyone looking at this process map will be able to tell that, okay, these are the two things that are changing from the assist, right? This is the assist and this is the to be, right? So this is your process map end to end for Jumia Tech in-store pickup process. We have been able to build the assist process, or we have been able to build the to be process, right? At this junction, are there any questions? As regards this? If not, at this junction, I'm going to hand over back to Brima to take us through the rest of there are still some interesting things that Brima wants to take us through, how to become the business analyst, the track, the cost module, the cost of the training, the benefits you're going to be getting. So I would say you shouldn't go yet. You should stay back and, get all of these things. And I think there's a discount for those that stay to the end as well. So you want to stay till the end to get that. Brima, are you there?
All right. Yes. Thank you very much, Sean.
All right. Thank you very much.
It was a very lovely class. I think I'll leave data science and switch over to business analysis.
No, we don't want you over here.
Wow, geez, come on. All right. Okay, so thank you very much for that, Sheila. Okay, so now before I proceed, I want to ask this diagram that we can clearly see on the screen. What is it called? So I know that we have been following Sheila from the beginning of this class. What is it called? I need the response in the chat. And then what is the relevance? Exactly. Why just two persons? What's happening? Is that we're not listening or we came back midway of the class? I need more responses. Right? If you believe that this is not a process map, this is like a diagram for you to hang on your wall for beautification, right? I will give you the floor to speak of, right? So I'm happy that we learned, and I'm happy that we were able to create our own process diagram that gives an overview of the sequence of activities for a project. That's what I learned today. You know, I mentioned I would leave data science and then move over to business analysis because this is very, very interesting.
Yeah, so let me take my words back. You're welcome. We have enough room for you.
Interesting. All right, so let me just share my screen. Okay. Okay, so I believe that we can see my screen clearly. And I believe that we enjoyed this session today. And I know that we were able to replicate our process map. So if you were not able to do that, you're going to get the recording, right? So all you need to do is to just fill in the attendance form and you will get the recording, the slides, and everything we use in this session mailed to you. So moving on to how do I become a business analyst? Okay, so just follow me closely, right? So you've gotten an idea of, the practical overview of what a business analyst does, right? So you're trying to, act as the middleman, you ensuring that all the processes are on check, you ensuring that, this is what we are supposed to do, right? And ensuring that all the stakeholders in that project are on point, right? So now, how do you acquire this skill as a business analyst? Okay, so first, just give me a moment, let me move this over. First, you have to learn Excel, Power BI, SQL for business analytics, and then project initiation planning, agile essential. So you have to know how to use Excel. Okay, so you being a business analyst does not mean, you just stand as the middleman and then you're collecting information and managing. Okay, so you have to learn the analytics aspects. That is why these tools are incorporated into this training program. Okay, so moving forward, you have to learn software development lifecycle. How exactly is this project going to move from the initiation phase, all right, to its completion? So it is necessary as a business, it's a necessary tool that you need to learn as business analyst. Why? Because you are responsible from the case study that we had today. You are responsible from the initiation to the completion of that project, and you are responsible for gathering or ensuring that whoever is required for the project is on the team, and then managing them to ensure. You see, there's a lot of ensuring, right? All of it is centered around you meeting the project goal. Okay, so you'll be learning requirement fundamentals, extension, analysis, specification, and then approval. Okay, moving forward, business analysis toolkit, how to leverage Agile and Scrum for project management and all. Then moving forward, you'll be learning stakeholder analysis and engagement, then setting performance measures, and most importantly, ChatGPT for business analysis. Okay, so if you can see my screen, I just need a 1 in the chat. Let me know you're following me and it's not coming from my end. Can you see my screen? Oh, thank you so much, Femi. All right. So, there's a trend of AI. Okay, that AI is taking over your job, but no, it is not. It is just to assist you. So how can it make your daily life, right? How can you make your roles, how can you make it more efficient? That is why we have infused ChatGPT into your training program. So you'll be learning how to leverage ChatGPT as a business analyst. So now, after going through all of these processes, after learning all of the sub-curriculums that we have in each of these sessions, you will now become a master business analyst. And yes, it is very, very possible. You see the way you went through today's session and you were able to successfully replicate your own process map, right? That's the way all of our classes are structured. You have amazing professionals such as Sheun and others that, you have an overview of them on this slide. So when I tell you that we are here to take you from having no prior knowledge or not even knowing about business analysis before, okay, it is very possible for you to transition into the tech industry and become a business analyst. All right. So moving forward, you'll be learning, I mentioned earlier, you'll be learning Excel, Power BI, and SQL. You'll be learning process mapping, project initiation planning, Agile and Scrum from project, software development lifecycle, requirement fundamentals, elicitation, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and also ChatGPT for business analysis. And then the average salary of a business analyst in the UK is £52,500, and you can see that's per annum, and then you can see the corresponding amount for Canada and then USA. And I hope we know that business analysis is on the shortage list, right, for most countries. So now, this is entirely possible in 3 months. Most persons don't believe that, oh, I can actually learn all these tools and acquire these skills and then subsequently get a job as a business analyst in 3 months. I don't believe that. Okay, so that is why we are holding this session. So you have an overview of everything that is in this training program, right? And so you also speak, or rather you hear our current participants speak about their experience so far. So you have 2 months of live classes and then a month of internship. So we always emphasize on your internship. You can be good with Excel, you can be good with Power BI or SQL, but then again, nobody will know if they don't see something that you have done. Okay, so your internship session is very, very necessary. You get to work on hands-on projects, right? You get a simulation of what exactly happens in the real world, right? Of your role as a business analyst. And you'll be working with, the amazing thing is you'll be working with students from data analytics, data science, and then data engineering. So you understand the whole workflow of a project, right? You'll be the one in charge of ensuring that, oh, data analysts, they do what they're supposed to do, right? So you'll be the one following up with the data engineers, you'll be the one following up with the data scientists to ensure that they are all on track, okay? And now I mentioned, you have 2 months of live classes and then a month of internship. Trust me, that internship is very, very necessary. Why? Because recruiters will want to know. I cannot bring you into my organization without me seeing your work, without me knowing that, oh, I'm not going to start from the scratch and start teaching you the basics. I will not do that. Okay, so your internship, you get to work on projects that you can put on your portfolio. So you show that, okay, yes, I know this skill and I can effectively utilize this in a project and then bring about the project deliverables. Now, moving forward, we have 2 class schedules. Okay, so they already paid for some people. I said that it will help them getting. All right, so we hear from our students, okay, when they come on the session. Okay, so I mentioned that we have 2 sessions. So let's say you are in Europe and then we have the morning session from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays. And then on Sundays, you have your afternoon session by 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. You know, classes happen on Saturdays and on Sundays. So this is to ensure that you are adept with whatsoever resources you need. And then you are getting these resources from professionals. So let's say, for adventure, you're in the US or you are in, let's say, Kenya or a different time zone or in Canada. That is why we specifically have the North American session for you. That is for students that are in a completely different time zone. So you don't say, oh, okay, I'm really interested in acquiring this skill, but then again, the time difference is so uncomfortable, or it might be, let's say, 12 midnight your time. That is why we have the North American session tailored specifically for you. Okay, so on Saturdays, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. that's West African time. That will be roughly 11 to 12 p.m., right? 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. your time zone. Okay, so in case you have issues as regarding the time zone, we have 2 classes. That's for the North American session and then for the evening session. And remember, the goal is for you to successfully transition into the tech industry. Okay, so moving forward, this is a detailed breakdown of your class schedule. I know I mentioned that so long you fill the attendance form, you'll be getting the resources for this session. So you can have a breakdown, and also you can also do your research and then say, oh, this is interesting. That means all of the subsections that you can see clearly, right, is inserted into this training program. Okay, so you get access to the slides and you have an overview of the curriculum. So now moving forward, you know, somebody asked the question, I believe at the beginning of the class, right? You mentioned business analyst and then it's another role. So one thing that you should know, for example, I am a data scientist, right? but I can, see another job description, right? That will be data professional or senior data advocate rather. But then when you check the job description, you would see that it is exactly the JD for a data scientist. That's the same way this roles, that's the title, mean. So one thing that we emphasize on is don't just, when you see a job interview, don't just look at the title and be like, oh no, I'm a business analyst, I don't know what this means. No, like look at the JD, okay? Look at the subsections and know that, oh yes, that means I have 70 to 80% of the tools that are listed here, and I can most definitely apply and be called for an interview. Okay, so just calm down. We'll take your questions at the end of the session. So if you still have questions for Sheun, we'll be back at the end of the session to answer all of them. Then also as regards the class schedule. Okay, so as a business analyst, you can work as a business system analyst, an IT business analyst, an operation analyst, then continuous improvement analyst, change management analyst, and so more. So their HR will have a lot of modifications to the names of a business analyst. But one thing that is important is for you to check the job description of each role and then see if it aligns with the current skills that you have. Okay, now moving forward, why should you train with Tenalytics? I need you to understand that it is not just you acquiring the skills. Okay, there's also the other 50%. Right, so alongside you learning with us, you get access to up-to-date curriculum. Remember us infusing ChatGPT, right? So you see how ChatGPT can help you as a business analyst and then make life easier for you. Then you see industry expert with hands-on experience. So this is just synonymous with today's session. You created your own process map, and this is how your class will be. So after you having like an initial understanding of what is required of you as a business analyst, then you go hands-on. Remember the way the class started, we had like an introduction of the basic concepts before now proceeding to creating your own process map. So you will be getting these resources, this knowledge from professionals, okay, such as Sheun and the rest that we have in our training program. So we have blended training delivery to accommodate everyone. We have 2 time zones, 2 different sessions for this sole purpose. And then we have employability services. So we have your LinkedIn optimization session, your CV review session. Let's say, for example, you have an interview scheduled. Okay, you apply for a job and then you have an interview. Okay, you'd be able to sit with a professional, right, and discuss with them as regards your job description, and then they will prepare you for your interview. That's called our interview preparation session. Okay, so we have a calendar link where you just book and schedule your proposed interview time. Then you would sit with a professional and then discuss what you're supposed to say, what you're not supposed to say. And then if you are given a task to perform, we will guide you through that process. Okay, all right. So moving forward, then the internship is designed, I mentioned this earlier, to simulate a real work environment. So you'll be working with data analysts, you'll be working with the data scientists, working with the data engineer, just so that you would be adept. So you know what is required when you get into the industry, that, oh, this is how I will communicate with this group of people. This is how I will manage the resources that have been allocated to a team. All right. Now, moving forward, additional employability services. Remember I said you can know something, but you don't know how to communicate it. So you having a skill is just like 50%, right? But the other aspect where you need to publicize yourself, where you need to ensure that, oh, your CV is not excluded, right? ATS does not throw your CV out. Where you need to know, oh, what are the right keywords that I need to infuse in my CV. So now I'm seeing a question, but you point us in direction of getting a job, I hope. So we have our mentorship sessions every Thursday. So these sessions are tailored to ensuring that whatsoever job that you're looking for, right, we provide you with the resources, we provide you with the links, okay, to this jobs section. So you will now be the one to apply for the job. All right. So that's why our mentorship sessions are tailored. We'll bring in past students that have gone through the process. We'll bring in professionals that are currently in the industry, and they'll give you insight on what techniques or what steps or what they did, right? What processes that they went through that helped them in getting their jobs. You have access to these resources. Okay, so where's the internship, or is it also all? Yes, our classes, our internships, everything. The same way we had this masterclass session. That's the same way your CV, your LinkedIn, your interview prep session, it's fully online. All right, so you have your CV review session, your LinkedIn optimization session rather. So if you apply for a job and you have been shortlisted, the first thing a recruiter is going to do is to look you up on LinkedIn. So imagine going to your LinkedIn profile and then it is blank, it is empty. That will not tell well of you. That is why we emphasize on you optimizing your LinkedIn and also you showing up on LinkedIn, right? Why? Because you can know how to do something. I've been saying this continuously because I have seen it happen over time. You can be good at Excel. You can be good at creating amazing dashboards, but I am not in your mind, right? The job ecosystem is not in your house that they will know that you are absolutely good at this. No, you have to put yourself out there. So people will say that, oh, this person actually knows his or her onions, right? And is a prospective candidate for, let's say, a role we have with our organization. All right, so you have your Upwork optimization session, then navigating the job market. So I believe this is the question that somebody asked in the chat. That is what these sessions are tailored towards. Then also, your when you apply for a job, or let's say you're going for your master's, or you have, let's say, any professional exam that would require you to get a reference, rather, you can just send us a mail and you will confirm that you are a student, and we'll send you a recommendation letter. Then finally, job and interview preparation session. So if you have applied for a job and then you have an interview scheduled, all you have to do is to just book a session with any of our professionals. All right, so we use the Google Classroom as a mode of communication. Okay, so you would see the interview preparation link there that you can just book, and then you'll be able to speak to a professional about your job description, and they will advise you on what to do. And then most importantly, your mentorship sessions. Trust me, this is very essential. So recently we had like a live simulation of an interview session. So we had participants submit their CVs for a fictitious role, and then we interviewed them on a call of over 300 persons. Why? To see how they would act, to see how they would behave, to see how they would speak when faced with the interview panel sessions, or whoever is interviewing you for a specific job role. So you see, it is very necessary that you hone skills that are necessary to drive as a business analyst. All right, so moving forward, meet your facilitators. Trust me, these are amazing professionals. These are amazing professionals that would give you the required knowledge. So you don't have to spend a lot of time. All right, you don't have to spend a lot of resources. Oh, I need to spend 3 years. I need to spend 4 years trying to acquire this skill so that I'll be grounded. Okay, so they've gone through this process. They know what it took them. They know the steps and the techniques that they used. All right, so they will provide you with so you can be successful as a business analyst. Now, moving forward, we have the co-founder of Tenalytics, that's Efemina Ikpo. I believe during the introductory session, I gave an overview of both of them. Then moving forward, we have, just give me a moment, we have Linda. She's an amazing professional with 10 years experience in this industry. So trust me, you are being guided by experienced business analysts. And then we have Sheung. I'm very sure that we enjoyed today's class. I'm very sure that we learned a lot. So you, without having any prior knowledge of what a process map was, you were able to create yours to replicate and follow alongside him with the session. So that is amazing. All right. So, and that's how your classes are centered. That's how your classes are organized to ensure that once you've had like a basic understanding of the theoretical aspects, you're now moving on to the practical session, and then you are applying the knowledge that you've learned. So moving forward, right? You know, I mentioned you have access to this slide, so you can go through the list of facilitators and professionals that we have, and then connect with them on LinkedIn. Trust me, right? You'll be amazed at what you'll be learning. That's the wealth of knowledge you'll be acquiring from these guys. Okay, so this is Olabisi, this is Francis, then these are the professionals that you will be working with. So imagine the wealth of knowledge that you will be acquiring as a business analyst. So you see why we emphasize on it is 100% possible for you having no prior knowledge, you being, let's say, a doctor, a pharmacist, or you not having worked in a professional setting after either your undergraduate degree or your master's degree, it is 100% possible for you to acquire these skills and then for you to effectively transition as a business analyst. So moving forward, we have our next cohort starting on the 4th of November 2023. And that is our last cohort for the year. You know, all of the aspirations that you've been making that, oh, I will learn a skill this year. I want to, let's say, upgrade my career, upgrade my standard of living before the year runs out. The year is, or rather has already ended, because before you know it, we're in November, and then there's December with all of its activities, and the year 2023 has gone. So the question should be, what skill did you learn? What steps did you take? So you being in this masterclass session for this long shows that, oh, you are actually interested in upgrading yourself from your current status and then transitioning into the tech ecosystem. Okay, so it is now time for you to take that step. Okay, take that step into being deliberate about acquiring this skill. So we have a course starting on the 4th of November, right? That's next week. Okay, and this is, remember I mentioned that all of our courses, Get Analytics, they are beginner friendly. So we are taking you from the basics to you being a professional. Now, all of these things that I have mentioned, okay, so these are past participants, right, that have gone through this training program and have gotten jobs. So we have a full playlist of our previous participants and current participants that have gone through our training program and have gotten jobs. They are on YouTube. So just search for 10 Analytics on YouTube. Or when you get this slides, you can just click on the link, click here, and you would watch their video. So you clearly see that it is our students that successfully transitioned without having prior knowledge in this field. Now, the cost of the training program starting on the 4th of November is 400,000. Okay, so you have the liberty to pay in 2 installments. That's the first installment, £250, and then you have £150. But we had a discount for the first 20 people, okay, to register for the business analysis program. But then again, this discount has been exceeded. That's for the first 20 people. All right. But because of the continuous messages that we've been getting as regards this, we are extending this. Okay, so now instead of you paying 400,000 naira, you are now, we are giving you an off discount, so you just have to pay 300,000 naira, and then you have the liberty of paying in 2 part payments. So the first being 200,000 naira, and then you pay 100,000 naira after a month of your training. Okay, so it is time for you to take just give me a moment. All right, so it is necessary for you to take advantage of this discount, okay? Because we are having this running for a specific period, and then we are closing it out. Because most times when it's like close to the 4th, let's say 1st, or let's say 3rd, you get students sending you a lot of messages that, oh, I didn't know that the discount has ended. I'm very much interested. I've had an overview of the masterclass sessions and the different recordings. We are very interested. I'm very interested in taking the program, but I didn't know that it was going to be closed. No, we will not have that. So once the discounts, as that's the specified time period that we are given, has been exceeded, we are closing the discount. All right. And we will not be accepting students when it's like a day to the training program. Why? Because we want to ensure that you are successfully onboarded and prepared to learn. Okay, you are prepared to go through this process, this training session with us rather, and we are here to guide you. All right. So just give me a moment. I believe we have participants on the call that would be speaking to us. You know, I mentioned that we have participants on the call, so you hear directly from them the steps that they took, right, to ensure that, oh, they register for the training program and they are acquiring knowledge. All right, so let's see. Adedoyin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but hi, Adedoyin. How are you doing today? You're muted if you're speaking.
I am fine. Good evening.
All right, so a good evening. Can we see you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Where I am, it's kind of
all right.
Good stuff.
All right.
I only hear my voice.
Okay. So I believe you have registered for which?
My name is Islamiat Adedoyin. I'm one of the one of the cohorts of the analytics of the for September cohort. Hello. Hi, am I audible enough? Hello.
Okay, yes. So it went off for a while, but we can hear you clearly.
Okay. I just want to share few stuff that I've learned so far from the just completed business analysis program. I've learned the art of preparing a business case, what a business case means. Of course, business case is an essential part. Like it's a solid foundation for any project, and it comes with different kind of components, such as the problem identification, proposed solution, the cost benefit analysis, risk assessments, and so on. I also learned how important it is to get your business case validated or approved before moving forward with the BR documents. This validation process is also a vital step in ensuring that our projects are built on a solid rationale and also is aligned with organizational goals. Also, I learned about the project initiation planning. Although I delve into various aspects of business analysis, but I just want to talk about a few key points. So moving forward, I learned about the project initiation planning. This is where we lay out the roadmaps for the projects by identifying goals, resources, and timelines, project charter, scope definition, and early stakeholder engagements. And all these are all parts of what I learned about the project initiation planning. And lastly, I also learned about the methodologies, the project management methodologies, including both the waterfall and the agile. Waterfall is more a traditional approach where each phase of the project is completed before moving on to the next one. While agile is, on the other hand, focuses on the flexibility and iterative development. It's just about adapting the change and delivering value quickly. And additionally, I also learned how to handle difficult stakeholders, because there was a day we were in the class session and one of the cohorts asked our facilitator that he wants to work in an organization that he has this boss at his work, and this person is so difficult to handle. Like whenever they have a project to work on, they always have issues with this particular person. So when he asked this, our facilitator quotes Guardian and I said, and I picked some great techniques from what she said. So she said we have to know how to run an effectively communication and also manage our expectation with all these people. It's just all about building those strong relationships with people. I think that is all for now.
Okay.
Still revising more on the class recording. I'm still revising more.
Okay, so
Thank you.
I think you are getting us scared with the technical term that you are using. So first thing that I want to ask is, did you have like a prior knowledge of business analysis before you joined the training program?
No, not at all. Not at all. As a matter of fact, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur before I joined, and I don't know anything about about business analysis or anything. But I joined a masterclass, and the way I joined today, the way these people joined today, so they explain, and I feel that okay, I can leverage my skills and become a business analyst, and that was why I paid there.
Oh, wonderful. And how's your experience been so far?
Also, I love it.
Okay. So now, I believe what advice would you give to somebody that's trying to, like, say, transition into business analysis, but then they're scared?
Okay, the thing is, when I wanted to start, we started with the data analytics tools, and before I joined T Analytics, I already have some little experience with Excel. So we started with Excel. So I found the class interesting. Along the line, I like this facilitator that take us. He's so like he has a very good listening ears, and he's a good teacher. So I love the data analytics part. But when the business analysis course started, I was kind of scared because it's more or less like explaining, doing a lot of making a lot of notes. So I was like, okay, and the business cases. Later, I wanted to be down, but after I visited the business, the class recording, and I was able to grab a lot of things. But during the class, the first day of when we started the business analysis, I was like, can I do this? Am I meant for this? But I just feel like, okay, let me go back to the class recording and listen to this facilitator again. Maybe I can grab some things. And I said that was what I needed. It's not hard. It's not hard. The experience is awesome. I love it. It's so awesome.
All right. So, thank you so much for taking our time to join us in this session today, Adedoyin. All right. So it's nice having you here. Okay. So
thank you.
A lovely evening. You're welcome.
I need to.
So
I need to.
All right. So I saw somebody asking for an overview of the curriculum. So there's a slide my colleague Ubong is, or rather there's like a message he sent into the chat that contains details of the card payment and also the main stack link. So if you click on that main stack link, so let me just stop sharing and then share this entire tab. Okay, so if you click on that main stack link, it's going to take you to this page. So if you need a detailed breakdown, that's, you don't want to, or rather there's the time difference between waiting for the recording or getting the mail because this session has not ended yet. Okay, it's fine. You can just come here and then click get access to all brokers. So when you click on this, it's going to take you to a drive where you would see all of the programs that we offer. Okay, so when you click on business analysis brochure, let me click on this. And then I scroll down. Just give me a moment. I really don't know. I think it's the network lag, but I scroll down. You would see also a breakdown of everything that you'll be learning throughout your training session. All right, so ensure that you fill the attendance form. I think my network is lagging. Okay, so you'd see a detailed breakdown of everything you'll be learning throughout the session. So your 2 months of live classes and then your 1 month internship. Then I saw a message in the chat, is our certificates recognized globally? So, I mentioned earlier, we have a complete playlist of students, of 10 analytics students that went through our training program and successfully got jobs. Okay, so I believe you'd see NHS as the, let's say, top on the list because we have a lot of our students that get employed with NHS with full sponsorship. So one thing that you should know in this tech industry, your skill, what you can offer. Yes, certificate is important. We will offer you certificate at the end of your training session. And yes, these certificates are recognized. Okay, but that skill aspect is very, very essential. So hello everyone, I want to also allow the speaker request for the question time. Okay, so we'll be having Sheung back on the call. So in case you have questions for both of us, then you can just use the raise hand icon and we'll take you. Okay, so let me just stop sharing and share the other screen back. So just give me a moment. And I mentioned we've exceeded a discount for the first 20 persons. All right, so we are just extending this because of the messages that we've gotten. And then it is high time for you to level up. Okay, so you too, you can successfully transition into the tech industry. All right, so those persons that are there, they don't have 2 heads. But that's one thing I tell myself all the time. If they can do it, I most definitely can. And then again, you have access to direct guidance from professionals that would give you all of the resources you need to thrive. All right, so do we have questions? Do we have questions? You can use the raise hand icon. So we'll take you, and then you get clarity before we call it a day. So let's see. Dione, I don't know if that's the correct pronunciation, but 220116, I think that's TG. So let me take you. You're muted, you're muted. Or if you, I don't know if it's just me, but tell me, I cannot really hear you. So can you try to unmute yourself? Or if you don't have the access to do that, you can send a message to the chat. All right, so we can see your video, but we cannot actually hear you. Okay, so let's see. James, that's James Utairo. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but let me take you, James. Hello, everyone. Let's send a chat. Okay, that works, Tiaomi. James, let me take you. James, if you are speaking, I cannot hear you. If you are speaking, yes, you can unmute yourself. Okay, so just give me a moment. So James, what is
Hi, Brahma. This is James.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. Firstly, I want to say good job. I want to thank you guys out there at Analytics because you guys gave me the platform to be where I am today. I have had several opportunities ever since I joined Analytics from 2001, and I'm very proud of this platform. It's really been of good to me. I just want to encourage everyone that's joining this platform. You might not believe in what or the capacity or the capabilities to what you can do. What I can tell you, it's like from grass to grace for 10 Analytics. I went through a journey which I never knew what I would do with Python, SQL, and having gotten much more knowledge in Excel, Tableau, Power BI. It's been an amazing journey for me. I have interviewed with, if not most of the best companies in the world. Right now, I'm still on an interview with MasterCard on business improvement. And I want to say thank you to 10 Analytics. And I want to believe that this opportunity will come to everyone. Just believe in the process and we'll all get here, okay? Thank you.
All right. All right. So thank you so much, James. So I actually thought you were asking a question. That's good. That's good. That's good. So thank you very much. And thank you for your encouragement, because a lot of persons, most times they are scared. Right? They actually want to, let's say, transition, but then again, that push is what they need. So you've seen that James has successfully done this. So what stops you? That's just the truth. What stops you from making that step, right? What stops you from acquiring a tech skill? And the amazing thing is, the more you, let's say, have insights into something, the more you're going to learn. But if you just believe and say, oh, business analysis, I don't know what this is, and I don't feel I will be capable of learning this, you're going to remain in that position. Okay, so thank you so much, James. Thank you for those words of encouragement. Thank you for your feedback, and I am happy that you are excelling. Okay, so Dion is saying, what is the necessary qualifications to enroll in this program? So one thing that we pride ourselves in is all of our classes are beginner friendly. So irrespective of your background, okay, so Efemina will say, so far you know how to on your laptop, you know how a normal laptop works, right? You have a laptop and you are willing to learn. Just trust the process. Just set your mind that I am going to learn this. I'm going to be deliberate and disciplined about acquiring this skill throughout this 3 months period. And trust me, you will be good. Okay, so you don't need to read computer science. I use myself as an example all the time. How does structural engineering relate to data science? That's just the truth. I'm supposed to be doing beam design and then calculating, let's say, the load bearing capacity of a column, right? Or a beam, but I am in data science. That's just the truth. Once you just set your mind that, oh, I want to transition, you'll be able to do so. All right. So do we have any more questions? Do we have any more questions? Do we have any more questions? I think we've taken James, we've taken Downey. Are we good? Are we good? Did we learn a lot? Did we learn a lot in today's session? And let me emphasize on you filling the attendance form, Okay, so you can have access to the resources and then replicate what has been done in today's session. All right, so do we have any more responses? And I need a 1 in the chat if you enjoyed today's session. So I think I'll be giving this to Shaun. Shaun, Parents Watch Initiative is asking, what's the job outlook for a business analyst? So Shaun, I'll be calling on you to take this.
So job outlook, do you mean like the job description or what the job market is? Because it could be, I'm not clear on that. Parents Initiative.
Okay, so Parents
Job
Initiative,
market.
I'll need you to
Yeah,
unmute,
it's
speak up.
I would say it's she says the job market. Yeah, I mean it's one of the most, business analysis today is one of the most in demand roles, I would say. And it's not just in the UK, it's across board in Canada, in the US, in Nigeria, in the UK, of course. I mean, and that's because you need a business analyst in every sector, every industry, whether gaming, whether health, whether manufacturing. I mean, I was a process analyst or process consultant for a manufacturing company, at some point, part-time when I got to the UK, right? So in whatever industry, right, you need a business analyst, right? So it's one of the in-demand roles today. So I would say, yeah, you're right. You're in the right place to learn this and to pick up those skills. Yeah.
All right,
Is
so
that clear?
thank you very much.
Parents
Thank you very much for that, Shaun. I believe Parents Watch Initiative, that's like a nickname. I believe you're good. I believe you're good. Okay, so emphasis on you filling the attendance form so you can get access to the recordings. And also, if you do have questions, right, ensure you ask. And then again, you can do your research. You can do a quick search on, requirements of a business analyst, and then you would see, right? You'll be surprised at what you learn. Okay, so we have a course starting on the 4th of November. Remember I said all of the New Year resolutions that you took, that this year I will learn a skill, right? You're on this call, you know yourself, all of the promises that you made. 2023 is coming to an end. Okay, so it is necessary. It is high time you take that decision. All right, you take that life-changing decision and then proceed to a new phase. Because once you have learned a skill, nobody can take that from you. It's just that if I'll come and say, Adeniyi or Charles or Chika or Chinyere, this process map that you've learned how to draw today, I'm going to collect it from you. No. Once you have learned a skill, once you know how to use a tool, okay, so it becomes for you. So what you now need to do is to now improve on that skill with recent trends or recent updates that, those organizations, that's the owners of those tools are bringing up. That's just the truth, right? Once you have learned it, once you've had like an in-depth understanding of what is required, you'll be good to go. Okay, so do we have any more questions before we call it a day? I hope that we enjoyed today's session. So, I mentioned, I think the one in the chat, if we learned a lot. All right, so you go and create your own process map for a problem in your house, right? Let's say you want to make a change, or let's say you want to install something different, and then again, you want to see the sequence of activities, how everything is arranged from start to finish. You can draw up your own process map. Okay, that's you testing your hands, and then with practice, you become efficient and skilled at whatsoever you're doing. Okay, so I'm just seeing a one from Femi. Come on, I need more responses so we can call it a day. Did we learn a lot? Did we learn a lot? Did we get an understanding of what is required of you as a business analyst? I need more responses. Oh, that's from Femi, that's from Xiaomi. All right, I need more responses before we call it a day. Okay, awesome class. That's good. That's good feedback. All right, so we hope to see you in our course starting on the 4th of November. All right, and remember that we'll guide you from you having no prior knowledge to you being proficient as a business analysis professional. All right, so thank you everyone for joining today's session. Thank you, Shaun, for the knowledge that you've impacted on us today. So I think I'll come back to consider business analysis All right, so I really did enjoy the class, and I'm sure that everyone else on this call did. Okay, so you could also follow us on our social media pages. I think somebody mentioned that earlier. All right, and then you have an overview, or you could look us up on YouTube, right? And you see an overview of how we are helping Nigerians, we're helping Africans successfully transition from having no prior knowledge effectively into the tech industry. Okay, so we're calling it a day. We're calling it a day at this juncture. All right, so have a lovely evening, everyone. To access the recording, all you need to do is fill the attendance form. So my colleague Ubonga sent it multiple times to the chat. All right, so just click on it and then fill it. Okay, so you get mailed the recording for the session and then the attendance. Okay, so have a lovely evening, everyone. Can I get a response in return? Come on. Come on. Can I get a response from us?
Yes, Burma, thank you so much. Have a lovely evening.
You're welcome.
And everyone
have
a
a
good
lovely
weekend.
evening, James. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Okay, cheers, guys. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to any of the admins on the WhatsApp group chat, or you could send us a mail. Okay, remember we have a course starting on the 4th of November, and we have the discount open for a limited period. And I believe that we will soon be closing the registration. You know why? Because we want to ensure that you are successfully ready. You are onboarded with all of the tools you need to begin this new phase of your tech journey. Okay, so have a lovely evening, everyone. And you get the recording for this session. I believe that we are going to replicate our process maps, and then we are going to feel proud that we're able to create that. Okay, so cheers and a good evening. All right, bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.